Ahoy there. Today on the Red Sea, retail workers of Reddit. What's the best thing you have ever had a customer come up to you and say? Working a late shift at a local hardware store in Canada, a man with blood all over his shirt ran at me and demands, what can I use to get blood out of carpet? Shocked, I pointed to the cleaning aisle. He grabbed the first thing he could see, threw a $20 at me and ran out the door. To this day I'm still convinced him an accessory to murder. I worked at a gas station for a while, which had an attached car wash. It was Labor Day, the crowds were thick, the weather was nice, and we were busting our butts. Washing 50 cars an hour is back-breaking work, and leaves you sweaty and covered in car soap scum. 3 of us worked the car wash, a prepper and 2 dryers. Usually we got tips, about $1 per person. Nothing great, but an extra $20.30 never hurt anyone. Anyway, this guy comes through the line, and we recognize him. Has got a nice Mercedes and came through pretty regularly, about once every 2 weeks. When we finished his car, he handed me an envelope and said, "You guys deserve this. You work hard and that should be rewarded." Inside were 3 $100 bills, 3 $15 gift cards to Blockbuster, and a thank you card. We were floored. We also probably spent the next 2 months working harder than ever, partly to make sure we deserved it, and partly to see if it would happen again. I was 17, working in a grocery store, looking glum while stocking cheese, when an old man dressed all in black walked up to me. He noticed the expression on my face. He told me that I should not frown all the time, that I should make the most of what I have, that I have a lot left. He told me that no matter what was bad in my life, I would always have something happy, and that I should think about that. Then he said, "I lost my wife. Thanks for talking with me," and then walked away. I was a cashier at a grocery store, and I had a customer who complained about every single thing. That price is wrong, that's not the right kind of tomatoes, the grains in this sugar used to be smaller, now they are too big, I do not like having to select English. Finally, the woman leaves, and I'm upset and a bit flustered. The next customer in line is a sweet old lady, and she smiles and says, "Honey, there are 2 types of people in this world. Those that make your day better when they arrive, and those that make your day better when you watch their ass leave." As long as I worked in retail, I never forgot that quote. My normal greeting for a customer is "Hello, how are you today?" I find it less awkward than silence. I had been using this when I was about 16 years old and working at a garden center. One day I greeted a customer as usual, but he immediately demanded to see my manager. Confused and scared, I called my manager to the front expecting to get in trouble for something. Turns out, the guy freaked out about how happy he was to have the youth of America still using friendly customer service and showing interest in their customers. This guy demanded to my manager that I get a raise and also slipped me a huge tip under the table. Ever since then, I smile and greet everyone. Years ago I had just moved to North Carolina and was working for Best Buy in Raleigh. A customer rushed up to me and asked me, "Do you know if there is a time machine nearby?" I blinked at him and asked, "What year are you from? What else do you ask in that situation?" He looked at me like I was a complete fool and rushed off. I was kinda freaked out and mentioned this to a coworker. He pointed out that there was a chain of ATM machines called Time. Take your money everywhere. That was fairly common in the region. 0. Oh, I'm sure the guy tells the story of the idiot at Best Buy to this day. I work in a clothing store. "Can you please get me this tank top in a size medium?" I would, but I do not want to mess up your piles. Bless you. Kind soul. Bless you. Former supermarket employee here. My most memorable customer has to be Nostradamus II. In 3 years at that location I could never tell if he was ducking with me or not. When you gave him his change he would tell me to be not afraid. For the 3rd great war of our time has passed, and we are entering an age of peace and enlightenment. Soon humanity will enter a true golden age. Look forward to it. Aside from saying this, and occasionally ending that spiel with "also TV is mind control," he was perfectly lucid and normal. You could ask him about the football or the weather, or whatever. Sometimes I wonder if there is such a thing as a prophet, because if so, I'd like it to be that guy. I worked in a petrol station in the suburbs of my city and a guy came in with a massive backpack and beard. Like a traveler, I rung up his items, and I was curious where he was going. Many people go hiking near the mountains close to the city. He said he'd been walking the length of the UK, bottom to top. I was amazed and was asking him questions about how long has been going and why he was doing it. Turns out it was just for shite and gigs. I said, "Wow, that's brilliant. "The very best of luck for you finishing it," and gave him a free cup of tea. He looked taken aback at my interest and thanked me. Like his whole way up the country, I was the first person to take an interest in him. I'm glad I took a chance to talk to him because he was a really interesting person. When I worked as a cashier at Target, we had these stickers that had a cartoony version of the Target dog sitting in a shopping cart, wearing a seatbelt. We were supposed to give them to kids sitting in the carts, but I just gave them to well-behaved kids. This one girl and her mother came into my line buying school supplies for the following year. The girl was taking all of their stuff out of the cart and handing it to me instead of putting it on the conveyor belt for me, while I was slowly getting buried in a mountain of folders, markers and stickers. I thought it was too cute to ask her to stop. Once I'd scanned and bagged everything, her mother gave her a $100 bill to give to me. When I handed her back the change, I gave her a sticker. I said to her, "That's for being so helpful." As I was helping the next customer, I noticed the mother and daughter scouring through their bag and looking at the receipt. As I was working, I was nervous that I had messed something up. Suddenly, I felt someone tapping me from behind. It was the little girl. She handed me something and said, "That's for being so helpful." I looked into my hand and there was a small sticker that said "Great job." I proudly wore that sticker on my uniform that day and I saved it for over a year. That probably made my short retail career. Not something someone said in person, but a phone call I once received while working at a large pet store chain. The call went like this. "Hello. Thank you for calling larger pet store chain. How can I help you? My turtle's head is falling off. What do I do?" Long pause. "Like all the way off?" "Yes. It's only on by like a little bit of skin." Pause again as 18-year-old me tries to figure out how the hell to explain this. "It's ... It's probably dead ... No, it's not." "Oh. Well ... Here, let me get you a vet's number." They got the number, hung up, and that was it. Never found out what happened to the turtle, either to get that way or what became of their attempts to fix it. My husband sells specialty cheeses. One day, a middle-aged woman was having a hard time finding some fancy pants buffalo milk cheese, and my husband had just happened to get an order in for it that day. She was thrilled. "You're such a good boy," she said. Then she asked for a few more suggestions for a cheese platter. He put one together for her. She kept saying, "What a good boy," and that sort of thing. My husband, who has a touch of social anxiety, was horrified and had no idea what to do. At the end of the interaction, she rubbed one of his shoulders and said, "You made mommy very happy today," winked, and then left. Once he calmed down, he realized it was probably one of the best, most hilarious interactions he's had at work. I work at a Max, and it says our company name in 3 places on our shirt, 2 signs in the doorway, and we greet every customer with "Hi, welcome to a Max. Can I help you find something?" But nevertheless, I would be a rich man if I got a nickel every time someone was on the phone at the register. Yeah, I can talk. I'm at Staples every ducking time. I had a rather obvious transvestite/transmasculal come to my counter. I know they are not the same thing. It was a somewhat masculine looking man dressed in women's clothing. I was as polite and friendly as I could be and spoke to them like any other customer. When he left, he paused, looked at me and said, "Thank you. Thank you so much for treating me like a human being. You made my day. I will always remember that." I work at a water slide and we have to make sure kids do not drag the mats on the ground. So I saw a little guy walking with the mat on his shoulders and the other end dragging. I told him to pick up his mat and he turns and calmly says, "It's not a mat, sir. It's a cape." I needed to fight crime. Greatest kid ever. An older man, 60-ish, bought me flowers on Valentine's Day and gave them to me in the store. He said he had always ordered them for his wife, and this was his first year without her, and it was too hard not to order them again this year. I accepted graciously and gave him a hug. I was working at a shite-Thai Pizza Hut and this group of guys came in demanding a discount blah blah blah. They were totally unfounded, and my boss was not there, so I called, not just defer them to him. Anyways, this guy starts screaming at me that he's with some Muslim students organization and that means he gets a discount, which was not true. Blah blah blah. After like 15 minutes they give up and walk out. A cop was right waiting until they left and came up to me. He said that they had been doing this at a few places. He technically could not arrest them for being annoying as shats, but while they were in there yelling at me, he had their car towed for being parked illegally. That cop got free pizza. Posted this before, but I was working one day and give the generic "have a good day." This woman responded with, "You know what? Have a good life. 2. There's too much bad in the world and one day ISN not enough. You gotta have a good life. Totally made my day. I once told an old man, have a good one. Without missing a beat he says I already have a good one. What I need is a long one. Nothing makes you smile like a geriatric making a dick joke. Speaking of old dudes making dick jokes. I used to work out at a gym with lots of older folks and grew a particular liking for a man in his 80s named Bill. He's an ex-sailor and acts like it. When I noticed he was growing a mustache I told him it looked good and he responded, oh yeah, you like this cookie duster? I was not sure if it was smash-ual harassment or awesome. Mostly, a little bit of both. Working at Kroger's my last year of high school and this old white woman who is clearly drunk got in my line with like a gallon of the most expensive wine we carried. We were not supposed to sell to people who were obviously already drunk but, quite frankly, I was going away to school in about 3 weeks and I gave no ducks. We finished the transaction and she starts beaming at me like a ducking hyena. She asked me did I have a boyfriend, I said no and smiled. She must have missed the rainbow tattooed on my wrist. And then the conversation went as follows. Girls should have boyfriends to buy them diamonds. My husband is out buying me diamonds right now. At this point, I actually have to look at her and she looks like money. But, anyway, me. Oh, well that's very nice. What's the occasion? That has a lying, cheating workaholic bastard. Me. Well, he sucks then. Cheating on a young fine lady such as yourself. All he cares about is money. Some sobbing starts. I stand there awkwardly. I think I touched her shoulder. It was a weird experience. Take this bracelet. I know it cost a lot of money. You do not have to keep it. I just want to hurt him. You know? I do not know. Me. Sure. And she leaves. I kept it for a week in case she returned wanting her bracelet. On the last day of that week she returned to my line, dripping in some kind of pink stones, and has conversation with me. Does not ask for it back, but does compliment me on my nice jewelries. And strokes my hand. I had it appraised the next day and was $1,675 richer when I left the jewelry store. I probably got dicked on that deal, but I was going to school and needed quick money. I lived on that money my freshman year. If you are reading this, you made it until the end of the video. Smash that like button if you have enjoyed it. Bam. On screen there should be some more videos similar to this. So either go do something else or watch more videos. That's about it. There is no more here. What are you waiting for, a secret message or something? This is not a secret, but subscribe for more videos like this.